This week's Jolt of Faith, I'm going to continue what we talked about last week's suffering, because I think it's such a hard topic, we can't just get it in one video. Last week we talked about that we're in the midst of suffering, remembering that Jesus is right there with us, that we're carrying our cross following him. We might need an extra spur to help us find some meaning when we're in the midst of a struggle, a sorrow, or a tragedy in our lives. And that's remembering that old adage we all heard growing up, offer it up. I remember going to Catholic school, the sisters were very fond of reminding us of that, of offering it up. And I have to admit, personally, I never understood the power of that until I was going through my own struggle with cancer. I've kind of talked about this before, but not quite in such detail, that after the bone marrow transplant, when I was in the hospital for like 14 days, no immune system, on a morphine pump, nothing was helping. I had cellulitis, all kinds of other problems. They were at a loss because my body couldn't fight any of that off. And I remember the pain was getting unbearable. And I remembered that line, offer it up. And I started in my mind to say, okay, Lord, I'm going to offer this pain for this couple in the parish whose marriage is on the rocks. Okay, Lord, I'm going to offer this test I have to go through that's going to be excruciating for a young person who's struggling with an addiction, etc., etc. And I have to say from personal experience, that was powerful because it helped me at least find a meaning for the suffering, that I was offering it up for someone I knew, someone I loved, or for my community of faith. And what was even more remarkable is that after that struggle, when I finally recovered and went back to the parish, it was truly miraculous to see how God had been at work. Those people that I'd offered up my suffering, how their situation was improving. Some of them had had a miraculous turnaround. And it was a powerful lesson to me of the power of offering our suffering for someone else, for someone we love, even for people we don't know, people on the other side of the world. And we get something back as well, because it gives us a purpose, that even though this pain might be unbearable, I'm going to offer it to you, Lord, for someone else. And knowing that it might help someone else makes it easier for me to bear. A different way of looking at suffering. We all were told as kids to offer it up, and maybe we were too young to understand what that means. But as adults, there's a power there, a power to help someone else, and a power also to help ourselves by giving our sufferings, our tears, our sorrows a purpose, handing them over to God in surrender so that God can use that to touch someone else. The next time we find ourselves really struggling with suffering and feeling like we're about to cave in, let's maybe offer it up for someone else so that that grace of selflessness can give us that extra strength we might be looking for in our lives as well. Not a sermon or a homily, but just that little reminder, that little jolt sometimes we need to get through the struggles of our lives.